Hey everyone, it's Ricky's Rockin' Reviews, and we're going to be looking at Recreational Panic. These are stories by Sonora Taylor. It's a collection of short stories out by Cemetery Gates Media, and I'd like to thank them for sending me this in exchange for an honest review. So a short story horror collection can be really fun, and this one does not disappoint. This is my first Sonora Taylor read. She's able to write with such precision that she's able to make the shortest of stories work here. She has stories that vary in length between 1 page and about 15 pages, and they're all really impactful. And there's even some poems here that are really beautifully written, and she also has a guided meditation which kicks off the collection, and it's just a perfect way to get you into gear. I would describe these stories as definitely very creepy. They send chills up your spine, like these little espresso shots of chill, and I really enjoyed it. This doesn't go as hard as anything like Brian Boyer's Sinister Mix or anything like that, but definitely gets the job done. It just making you feel super uneasy. And there were various different subjects that Sonora Taylor tackles in each of her stories, and there's just this really great blend of variety, which is what I really loved. Just as a quick example, we move from a story of this girl who is obsessed with this serial killer named Harvey Carver, and this was actually the second story that comes after this meditation, Recreational Panic. And it is so effective, so evocative, and I was just thoroughly fascinated in the way that Sonora Taylor was able to get this kind of spooky legend of this murderer and really focus in on this girl who is just absolutely obsessed with him and how deranged she is herself. The Harvey Carver story was so strong that I used it as a measuring stick to compare all the other stories. I thought that was going to be the bar to beat, and that was just the very first real story in this collection. And the rest of the collection does not disappoint. We move into a story about a watchmaker, and he gets this visit by this really eerie, kind of dark presence of a man. And he's asking him to create a watch made out of bone. And right away with that premise, you kind of have a feeling that this story is primed to get really, really dark and just escalate. And it does. Now, one of the other stories that I really liked was called Per My Last Email. And if any of you guys have ever worked in an office setting before or had to deal with anybody remotely, you would know exactly the kind of frustration that this story stems off from. And it's really cool. It's really fascinating because it's all told through email and text message. And there's this level of ridiculousness to it, as far as one of the girls that is kind of so focused on this one issue. And it just gets really funny, but it also takes a dark turn, of course, being in this collection. And it was just really refreshing to see a story told through text and through email. There's this story in here called The Untended Field, and it is really effective, and it's only 1 page long, which was really cool to see how powerful that could be. And the reason it works is because what Sonora Taylor is kind of describing here in this story is 100% true, and she's able to create this effect with an absence of characters. And it is actually the very absence of characters that really makes you think, because it is something I haven't thought of before when I look at nature. And now I see nature in a kind of creepy way. There's a story in here called Laughter in the Night, and I thought it was really cool. I really liked that one. It's this girl who kind of grows up hearing this campfire story of this area around the school where a battle of the Civil War was fought. And now there's this kind of haunting essence in the school. It kind of becomes an urban legend that people can hear laughter sometimes when they really pay attention around that area or in that school. And this girl takes it upon herself to actually go and see what happened, because there was an instance when she was growing up, when she was a little kid, where something weird definitely happened to her classmates and her teacher. So she's investigating this, you know, as a older teenager now. And that was a really spooky story. And I thought it was really, really fun. Just the idea of being in a not necessarily abandoned school, but a school late at night where no one else is there is really, really creepy and really eerie. And I think that's something that almost everyone has thought about before, you know, when we were growing up. Just the idea of being there alone. It was quite frightening. Like I said, there's poems in here, and one of my favorite ones is called "I Already Know You Will Haunt Me," and that was just really beautiful. That's all I can really say about it. You got to kind of experience it yourself. One of my other favorites was called Eat Your Colors, and it's about this girl who wants to get healthier. And so she gets this advice from this girl on Instagram who is like all about being healthy. And she describes this method that she uses where it's like every meal you have to have all the colors of the rainbow and as natural as they can be, and you'll ensure that you'll have a really healthy life, a really healthy body. And so this girl takes her up on it, and she actually has like this one-on-one consultation. And after this one-on-one consultation, things start to take a turn because she's starting to employ this methodology with everything that she eats. But things start going wrong when she leaves a color out, for example, or if she doesn't do everything just right. And the colors that you see in the story are like so vivid. I can imagine like the greens of the peppers and the reds and the different colors of all the vegetables and stuff is just like really well done. And the colors in the story become like really personal, I would say. So that was a really cool story with probably my favorite resolution of all the other stories in here. That was just it was a phenomenal read. There's a story here called Keepers of the Light, and I'm crazy about lighthouses. I think lighthouses are fascinating. So that was like a haunted lighthouse story, which was really cool. There's also this story in here, kind of the second to last, called If You Don't Want a Cat, Don't Get a Kitten. And that story was really fun. She dedicated it to Brian Keene, the horror author, because of his work with cats and his dedication to getting cats adopted and stuff like that. And that was a really cool story where you kind of question these cats that are showing up to this man's house, and in the middle of winter, I believe, and they come in like they come in waves of kittens, and then eventually finds like that there's probably more to what's going on in the forest around his house, I would say. And that was just like really cool. The story was cool because it had like an element of action and surprise. And I just really loved it, especially because I do appreciate cats. I don't have any, but I do think they're cool animals. There's also like the story to kind of cap everything off is called Write Drunk, Edit Sober. That's a story about a writer, and it just has like this really creative punchline at the end. Anyone who has ever tried to write anything would definitely relate to that one. And overall, I just enjoyed this collection. This is my first Sonora Taylor, and it won't be my last. I will definitely be seeking out the things that she has written before. I should mention that there are 21 stories, poems, and a guided meditation as well. There are several that were published in other anthologies before, but they're collected here for the first time as well as with new stuff. And ignore the ARC banner, but just look at that cover, which is just great. I really love this cover. It took me a while to notice that there's actually this like possibly drowned man in the pool there. There's a lot going on, but it's just all really well done, and it's just a really cool cover. Anyways, if you guys are interested in horror short stories at all, I would definitely recommend Recreational Panic by Sonora Taylor. It is full of a different variety of stories, and it's also really easy to get through. It's very short. It's only about 150 pages, and the stories are very effective. So again, I would highly recommend it. And I would really appreciate you guys if you liked, shared, and subscribed. And if you guys come back to my channel, I'll definitely have some really cool books to share with you guys. So catch me on the next one.